The first official world chess champion was a man by the name of Wilhelm Steinitz. Steinitz dominated the chess world in the 1860s, 70s, and 80s, and he founded the principles on which modern grandmaster play is built. In this game, he shows the punching power it takes to be the best. His opponent was so upset at the incredible moves that Steinitz was smashing him with that he left the playing hall in the middle of the game and never returned. Take a look at this wonderful achievement in chess history. This is a great opening move because it controls the center, the most important part of the board. This is called the Italian opening. Both sides have developed their pieces quickly, but now Steinitz decided to take the center under greater pawn control. As long as the pawn moves you make in the opening are intended to control the center, then okay. Otherwise, forget about the pawns and move the pieces. Black better not touch this pawn because he has only 2 attackers and white has 2 defenders. Defense cancels out attack. Check. Now black should have bravely taken the e-pawn since white cannot capture back because his knight is pinned. It cannot move because it is shielding the white king from check. Instead of taking, black pushed his d-pawn. White still cannot move his knight because of the pin. Pins can be extremely annoying. Use them to your advantage when you can. Castling is most often done to get the king to safety behind 3 blockers and to quickly bring the rook into the game. White is now finally ready to play knight takes knight on d5. Black develops a piece and defends the knight. Black has to watch out. That last move developed a piece and attacked the black queen. Now the board looks very complicated, but white has the advantage because of one thing: king safety. His king is nice and tucked away while black's king is still in the middle of the action. Watch how white exchanges off a bunch of pieces in order to clear a path to the enemy king. That's a very nice move. Black's king is desperate to get out of the middle of the board, but if black were to castle right now, white's rook would annihilate the black knight. That move defends the knight so that he can castle. White keeps up the pressure. Now black's king is definitely stuck in the middle of the board because he can't afford to castle and lose a whole knight. That would be like losing your right hand in the middle of a fight. Black is trying to hide his king on f7. Notice how the masters play. Every piece is brought into the action before the final onslaught begins. No piece must ever be left sleeping, except, of course, the king. This is a fatal mistake by black. He should have been more concerned with the safety of his king and played it up to the f7 square. Now, take a look at this position and see if you can spot white's next move. That's a world-class move. White gives up a pawn, but wait till you see what he gets in return. Whoa, what an awesome knight! Imagine trying to fight an enemy who's so close to you you can smell him. Not a comforting thought. In this position, the knight is rooted to the weak e6 square like a sumo wrestler, and black is about to get sat on. There's a 2-on-1 attack aimed at the G7 pawn. Check. A spectacular move. If black takes the knight, he can kiss the queen goodbye. Check. A vicious body blow. If black takes the rook with the queen, then white will have a 2-on-1 attack on the rook on c8. But if black takes the rook with the king, then it's a little more complicated. Let's take a real good look at what would have happened. Check. Now black has to protect his queen because white wants to take it. Check. Checkmate. You can bet your last nickel that black saw this possibility. So let's go back and see what he actually did. Not a bad move. Now if white gets greedy and grabs the queen, black can rip off the rook on c1 with his rook and it will be checkmate. White would lose. Check. Steinitz is no fool. Black still can't touch this rook with his queen because white would bounce the c8 rook right off the board. Black is still hoping that white will take the queen so that he can give checkmate. Check. White continues the hammer blows. Now black's king can't take because white would take the black queen, but this time with check. Check. Another blow to the head. Steinitz has been showing so much dazzling punching power that von Bardeleben was too embarrassed to continue. But instead of simply resigning, he left the room and never came back. Since in tournament chess games a clock is used, black eventually lost on time. But the story wasn't over. Steinitz showed the spectators that the game was really his, and he showed them the next 10 moves that he had foreseen in his head. Check. 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 Checkmate. Steinitz saw all these forced moves well in advance. That was why he was the world champion. Incredible.